Good morning everyone, it's Tanya from Tanya Kraus Horsemanship and you are joining me for episode 12 of the Millie Diaries. Obviously I don't have Millie here, this is Rip. He's come straight over and we've started to really notice how curious he's getting, and obviously we've done so much less work with Rip than we have with Millie. You know, Millie's been the one that's been caught every day. Rip's only been caught a couple of times, and yet every day he's the one that's kind of fronting up. And it's really something to think about in regards to our horses, especially our young horses. I think that if we can spend, you know, time doing nothing with them, it obviously does make them you know, a lot more interested in coming up and things like that. And that's not to say that we haven't done, you know, work with Rip as a byproduct of, you know, he comes up, you've been watching me, he comes up and I move him away from the camera, or he comes up and I just don't want his hindquarter near me so I ask him to move, or we're trying to get to Millie and he's in the way, and just like now I'm giving him a little brush just because he's standing here and I'm talking to you guys and Millie's standing behind him. So he has been getting intermittent work, and as I said, we have caught him a few times, but certainly not the work that Millie's been getting. And when you think about Millie, you know, we're on episode 12, each episode is running at about 10 minutes. So really in 12 days, she hasn't had hardly any work at all, and yet the progress has been fantastic. Yesterday we got her front feet done. So that's always a positive thing. In terms of my goals that I wanted to get done with this mare, here she is. In terms of the 4 goals that I set, get her feet done, get her wormed, get her more confident and get her easier to catch. She's definitely easier to catch. She's definitely, obviously we have got the front feet done, so that's, you know, half of that job done. Worming we're working on, and now I'm going to shift the focus to worming because those front feet aren't at that critical stage anymore. And the confidence is definitely coming day by day, but once I can get the worming done, then I'll start to work on building confidence in regards to building trust and things like that, with maybe some obstacles and you know, moving her around a little bit and things. So I'm really happy with the progress. It's been really fun, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. Or, you know, my intention is to just keep on filming while she's in, even up to the point where I start riding her and things like that. I don't know when that will be. I do have clinics coming up that'll take me away from home, so I've got a 4-day clinic around that Mullumbimby area. Hey. Around that Mullumbimby area, or at Mullumbimby it is actually, I shouldn't say around the area, it's at Mullumbimby. And then I've got another one down in Kendall, which is, I think it's probably near Port Macquarie kind of area, maybe a little bit further south, I don't know. I'm sure I'll find out. And so yeah, those clinics will take me away from home. Those ones are only shorter clinics, so they're only sort of 4 days. So depending on what Phil's schedule is and whether he's going to be home, we may well just leave the horses locked up, and if Phil's home he can take care of them. It'll be interesting because it'll mean that she will get a break. She won't get handled, other than if she remains in, she'll only get handled for feeding. You know, she'll only get fed and things like that. Mr. Rip. Okay. So a quick brush. I need to find a main brush for her. I think it might be in the trailer. I'm definitely going to keep picking out her feet, just because I've got to get her feet. Obviously we need to do her back feet anyway. I'll just see if I can get a shot. Obviously we need to do her back feet anyway, but I certainly don't want to get to the point where I sort of say, oh well, I got the feet done, I don't need to pick them up anymore. I want to keep that as part of her routine. And they look great. Up, 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 up. So again, try and hold her foot while she's kicking like that. And let her understand that it's really, you know, well, I'm not going to put the foot down on a brace or on a pull as much as I can. Obviously they can be pretty strong. But I really want Millie to understand that if she just picks her foot up and allows me to do what it is that I'm doing with the foot, then I'm going to let her put it down anyway. So it's really about her understanding processes of, oh, you want to do something and then you're going to leave me alone anyway, so I'm going to allow that to happen. And then beyond that, I guess that's what's going to build her confidence in it, because she's going to understand, even with this wormer, you know, you've seen a couple of times that she really doesn't like it. But really it's up to, we've sort of got to get her to the point where she is accepting, so not necessarily enjoying, but accepting that I'm going to pick up a foot and I'm going to do something with it, and then I'm going to put it down. So she accepts that process. And then, depending on what the process is, you know, picking up feet, worming, she might not get to the point where she enjoys them, but she's definitely going to get to the point where she, you know, is neutral about them. So I think acceptance is sometimes, you know, I talk about horses sometimes being obedient and then accepting and then enjoying. And I certainly want my horses to enjoy, you know, being ridden and being, you know, worked and things like that. Being groomed, for example. Some horses aren't going to like being groomed because, you know, that just doesn't feel good to them, same as people. Some people like being hugged, some people don't like being hugged, etc., etc. Massages, for example. But so, you know, I think you can teach a horse to be obedient, and if we were in an emergency situation and you had to get the horse on the trailer or you had to get the halter on the horse or something like that, you can certainly create, you know, put enough pressure on to make a horse obedient. But because we've got, you know, the luxury of time with this mare, I am developing acceptance. She still doesn't like necessarily her feet being picked up. You can see her sort of twitching a little bit, and when I go to put this wormer in her mouth, she's not going to like that. But if I can get her to accept it, and I can get her to understand and accept the process, then I'm much closer to her getting to a point where she's either neutral about it, like, you're picking up my feet, you know, she's not like, yes, you're picking up my feet, but she's probably going to get neutral about it, and that's what I want her to do in regards to worming and things like that. And then when it comes to, you know, like I say, the other things like being handled or worked or ridden and things like that, I definitely want her to say, oh, you know, this is interesting, it's mentally stimulating, it's physically stimulating, you know, I'm enjoying the process. So I hope I'm making sense. It's a little early, and we're on day 8 of the colt start, so we're all pretty tired. So yeah, I hope I'm making sense. Let's work with this wormer a little bit with her. just going to put that halter up. It's a little bit low. Let's see if I can get him out of the way. Good. So that's better. I'm just putting the plastic tube next to her lips. Wait for her to wait. Take it away. Rip. We're going to have to start locking him up, I think. I don't want her pushing either. Remember the other day she really pushed on me, so she's starting to sort of push now, so I'm not going to release it while she's pushing. Good. I haven't put it in yet, I've just had it laying next to her mouth. No. Good. So I don't mind that. Considering the other day she really tried to squish me and really moved her feet and things like that, I'm going to go ahead and leave that there. I'm pretty happy. I think that it's going to, now that the worming is my focus, I think that that's really going to come along in leaps and bounds every day. Obviously this one probably wouldn't be too terribly difficult because he wants to stick his nose in everything, and as I said, it's interesting, isn't it, that she's yawning in the back there. It's interesting that he's being sort of neglected, if you like. We're not doing the work with him, and he's the one that wants to be in amongst it. So it just goes to show that the little that you can do with these horses, I think the more curious they are and the more that they actually want to be involved and interested and things like that. So thank you for joining us for episode 12, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you tomorrow in episode 13.